So I'm big on, before we do anything, can we know who we are? Are we introverts? Are we extroverts? What is the most natural way of creating content for us? And what is the platform that's going to allow us to be our natural self?
You mentioned the different channels. How do you think about them when you're creating content?
Yeah, I use social media as a tool, right, to become a global brand, right? If everybody is on these different platforms, and this platform, regardless of which one it is free, and they push it out to some people, and if those people like it, it'll continue to push out. I'm more of a, how are we strategically taking them through the journey? Meaning, I got to give you little bite-sized clips because you don't know me, right? So let me give you some bite-sized clips that is going to give some type of functional value, right? Tips, tricks. And you're like, oh my God, this is great. How do I get to know more about the how, right? Okay, well, now you might go into the YouTube situation, or you might go into the podcast audio situation. Now you're getting longer form. Now you're like, okay, I'm hooked. What do I do? Now you're going into these different programs that we have. So I use social media. My main bay, I always say you always have to have a main bay, right? Which is Instagram for me, right? I love Instagram, even though it doesn't, it's like a toxic relationship. I really feel like Instagram is a toxic relationship. You could show all the love to it and it could just go somewhere else. It's dumb, right? And then you have, I really treat these things, because it's social, it's relationship, right? But I really treat these platforms as relationships, because then you have TikTok and YouTube Shorts looking sexy over here, like, hello, when Instagram isn't paying attention to you, I'm going to pay attention to you, right? And then you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to take some from the main platform, because my big purpose is I'll concentrate on one and repurpose on the others. I'm not trying to stress myself out with creating different videos and pictures on all these other ones. It's a different audience for the most part, right? We normally are attracted to just one platform, and we may go on multiple ones, but we are normally always going to one or two platforms, right? So concentrate on one, repurpose on the other. So this is where I'll repurpose on TikTok. I'll repurpose on YouTube. Like, I created, just to test it out, a whole separate Nicky Saunders YouTube one just for the shorts, just to see, okay, how good are you talking over there? Like, you're about to do some monetization changes and pay people for vertical form. Let's see how good you are, right? And it does treat me nice sometimes. I won't lie. TikTok is very impressive at times, right? But like any other social media platforms, is going to take you on a high and then get you on a low, right? It has nothing to do with who you are as a brand or how good your content is. That's just how the system rocks. It's about, what is the purpose of you being on social media and being on any of these platforms in general, right? And if it is going with a pure heart of, listen, I just want to impact the people with some type of motivation, some type of education, some type of entertainment, right? Whatever your form is, and I just want to put that out to the world. Boom, you utilize these social media platforms in the ups and downs that it does, to take them through the journey that you want them to do.
Yeah, no, I like that. And just 1 second before we go on to the rest of the show, if you like what you are hearing, please make sure to hit that subscribe button or the like button or both. It helps the show grow, and it shows our show to more people, helps us grow, helps us stick around. Thank you for doing it in advance. Now back to the show. I think for me, I've said, I'm only going to create originally for long form to start. And then I repurpose too, and I love putting them in all the different places.
Yeah.
I think you're creating for two places. I think you're creating your long form show, and you're creating short form individually, catering that if to
Yeah,
one of the channels.
So I look at it as, what is going to allow me to create the most unlimited amount of content in the world, right? I don't like working when it comes to content too hard, because it will exhaust you. Like if you're trying to create something new every single day, that is going to exhaust you, even for the best content creators. So of course, I got the podcast that's about like an hour long. And so we chop that up into like 7 different small clips. And then we have about like 4 or 5 YouTube smaller clips for that, but not the vertical form, right? Just like about 8 minutes and long for the monetization, right? And then I'll create for my own personal brand. I'll do the main one is my lives, right? I'll go live on Instagram, super like probably 30-40 minutes, right? But I'll also record it from a behind the scenes situation. So I'll have my phone propped up. You'll see the feed on it, but you'll also get like a high definition based off the camera and the mic. You'll get that experience, so I could repurpose it. So I have now 2-3 clips just from one live. Then of course, if something's happening on social media with Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, I'll just do a green screen, or I'll talk about it real quick based off certain updates. So I'm probably only creating something new probably 2-3 times a week the most, because I sometimes feel like I want to create more, but I'm mainly concentrating on my podcast and my Instagram lives. One, because I like connecting with the people better, but 2, I know I could repurpose that with no problem.
Yeah, I think that's for me part of the next kind of generation of steps for me. It's like I got the long form dialed in, the repurpose, but I need original short form content that I can sit down with and do whatever it is. I don't have to, but I
Right.
think that I'm now interested in some of that, because I wanted to find a way that I wasn't just doing what I see other people do that isn't interesting to me, which is
Yeah.
like forcing a how-to in a quick push and play. Hey, it's Brandon again, talking to, like how
Telling you
to,
about the 5 steps about do
yeah.
this. Yeah.
It doesn't feel natural to me. I like these. What I love about the clips of a podcast or whatever is that you can catch us in a real conversational moment, giving something that we really think as a perspective, as opposed to something that feels dialed, but or prescript, whatever it is, fake.
No, I got a really good, and for your listeners, if you want to
Please.
steal this, I'm probably going to do this today or tomorrow. So cool, right? But like I said, I'm a low key, high key geek, and so what I want to do is actually record behind the scenes of me watching some of these interviews and taking the notes, and then it transitioned into the part that I want people to get the lesson from, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it shows like, okay, what's Nikki watching? What interview she watching today? What book she reading today? And then boom, going into like a quick lesson and things like that. I want to do more of what I really do in real life, because some people are just like, they got to see more of the behind the scenes instead of just the straight here, this. So I'm going to do more of what I do in real life and incorporate it with still the value of it. So that's one of the ideas that I'm going to be today or tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. No, we'll watch out for it. See it actually happening as it happens.
Yeah.
We talked about how you're creating content. I'd love to talk about how you go about, because you're basically an educator in this space.
Yeah.
How you help other people when they're starting their content creation journey. What are some of the lessons that you like to impart upon people who are getting started creating content?
Yeah, I go with these 3 things, and Socrates said it, but I'm a flip it, right? It's like know thyself, choose thyself, and create thyself, right? When we're talking about jumping on social media, you have to know who you are first. Some of us have just gotten on social media and created some of our brands because everybody else is doing it, right? Or, okay, TikTok is working, we got to be on TikTok, right? But do you have what it takes to create the content on TikTok? Like, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Because if you are an introvert trying to do all these these vertical videos, you're not going to be consistent. So I'm big on, before we do anything, can we know who we are? Are we introverts? Are we extroverts? What is the most natural way of creating content for us? And what is the platform that's going to allow us to be our natural self? Because if I wake you up at 3:47 in the morning, cold in the eye, like, yo, Brand, wake up, wake up. I got an audience real quick that is ready for you. I need you to say your message in either video, audio, written, or photo. What are you going to pick? What are you going to pick?
For me, it'd be finding your voice.
No. Video, audio.
Oh, video, audio. Yeah. For me, it's audio.
Okay. So then this is what you feel comfortable doing every single day, because at 3:47, you're not thinking. You're like, okay, all right, hold on. Let me get this mic, right? Now we have to find a comfortable way of doing that every single day on a platform that allows us to do that every single day. Now, that's not saying you have to do it every single day, because it's a matter of creating a consistent schedule, right? What can you commit to and tell your people, I'm going to show up every Thursday, Friday, right? Like, there are podcasts that do it every single day. There's podcasts that do it once a week, right? There's podcasts that do it 3 times a week. So whatever your consistent schedule, in the natural way that you do it on a platform you feel the most comfortable with. Like for me, I feel comfortable on Instagram. That's my vibe. That allows me to distribute all the content that I put on Instagram to the world and other platforms, right? Then choose thyself. This is where I say choose the platform, choose the way to create, right? And create thyself is, how do I create these pieces of content now that I said, this is what I'm going to do? This is where I go, what is my media team without necessarily having personnel? And we have a media team right on our phone. So if I need a video editor, I'm going to do CapCut or InShot or Video Leap, right? If I need a photographer or photo editor, I'm going to go into Lightroom. I'm going to go into Visco, right? If I need a graphic designer, I'm going into Canva, right? If I need a social media manager because I'm too busy, Nikki, I'm too busy, Brandon, I don't have time to post, then I'm going in later. I'm going in Buffer. I'm going into Creator Studio, Business Suite. I'm doing all these things that, until I have the actual personnel, then I have a whole media team right on my phone. So it's always know thyself, choose thyself, and create thyself.
I love it. No, I love it. That's, I think, super memorable for people getting started. I think having those tools that you can use along the way that kind of are the foundation for you, like for people who don't have the money to pay for those actual people, and the tools are there. People, like
Yes.
smarter people than us, have built these things to help you out along the way. You mentioned another tool, which is editing.
Yeah.
What are you actually using to edit your footage? I know you have an editor's background, which I think makes you biased towards certain tools, but what are you actually using? And then we can get into the conversation.
So I use Adobe Premiere Pro and I use CapCut.
Okay. And
so
tell me CapCut, what that does.
CapCut. So CapCut is amazing. First off, it's free. All right. And they don't pay me. So the fact that I sound this excited for something that doesn't pay me, listen, I'm being very true with this, right? So it allows you to do clearly the transitions, the titles, the regular video editing app situation, but it also does captions that will allow you to stand out, like those trending ones we keep seeing, the dynamic captions that come up when we're talking. It's bold, it's highlighted. CapCut could do that all for free, where there's other apps that you have to pay from a monthly standpoint, yearly standpoint to get that. That does it for free. It has great effects. You are allowed to upload your own fonts. It takes pictures, even pictures, and turns it into like a 3D video, right? Like a still picture, turning it into now a video. So there's no excuse for, oh, I only like photos. Well, turn that photo into a video. Now you have a vertical short form video that you can put on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Reels, and now you're relatable, right? So I think the capability, and also they have templates. So if you do not like to edit or don't know how to edit, they have templates of all the most trending things that are happening or some new stuff that people are making, that literally you click on it and it shows you, hey, add a video here. This is going to show up for 3 seconds, 1 second, 4 seconds. And you just export it, and it can export up to 4K to 60 frames per second, and you're good. So I love CapCut, and like, yeah. And I have Adobe Premiere Pro, and I know how to use that. I will pick CapCut any day. And they have a web version for those people who like to do it on the web.
Is it desktop also?
Yeah.
Like yeah. So yeah, that sounds amazing. Going into this, I was like, how is she doing her captions in a way where it keeps changing the styles? Like it gets bigger, smaller, the fonts change. There's an icon that pops up.
So it's CapCut, and there's another cool tool called Descript. So Descript,
that one I know about. Yeah.
Yeah. So Descript does the captions really cool too, right? And they're not known for the caption. They're known for other things. They're known for their AI of like turning it into a transcription and deleting some of the words, and now it reflects on your video. Right. That's cool. But their captions options are amazing too. But between Adobe Premiere Pro, CapCut, and Descript, you could have amazing captions.
So that's what I wanted to mention. So like because I have a lot of podcasters that I work with, because that's like my world, but I am channel agnostic. I want it to be everywhere. I love having video as part of my podcast.
Yeah.
But it's just where I create, right? But this part of it, of making a podcast in an old school format interesting to a YouTube and into these shorter videos, takes extra work.
Yes.
And to your point about liking video or being good at video, I don't like editing. I don't like editing, right? Yeah. It's not my go-to. But
no one really likes it.
Right. Like, but it's not my skill. It's not what I want to spend time on. So the script saved that for me, right? I can literally edit text. That's easy. I find the things I like. I can cut 30 minutes to like an 8-minute video of YouTube very easily, following a train of thought. I love it. But then I have this great raw 8-minute footage that now I want to make interesting visually for YouTube. And I'm like, man, what do I do other than actually editing in video to do this? And the captions was part of it.
Yep.
So that helps, I think, with that. But then tell me the rest. What are you doing now? You've done the cuts, but you have this now video footage that you want to make interesting on YouTube.
Yeah. So there's two things: telling a story and keeping people distracted. Right. So one, just changing, like zooming in, right? So we may be just sitting in the same spot, but every 2 seconds, I may zoom more into me, and then you see the full room, then zoom more into me. For some reason, people really like that. Why? Because it keeps distractions, right? Another thing to keep distractions, but what will help with the storytelling, is B-roll, right? For those people who don't know what B-roll is, that's a video or picture that we didn't take, pretty much, and adding it to our video to create context of what we're saying, right? So this is perfect for podcasters who just sit in one spot the majority of the time speaking. But now I can add, if I'm saying, yo, I was in New York this week, and I show glimpses of the New York skyline, and then I go into the streets of Queens. And so now people are seeing what I'm saying instead of just seeing my face, right? So captions, of course, titles to just pretty much say what in the world this video is, distractions from a zoom in, zoom out standpoint, sound effects also help, because I could be doing something else. I hear, oh, boop, boop. I'm like, wait, what was that? Wait, what happened? And it makes you pay attention to the video a little bit longer now. So sound effects and B-roll is some of the things that I incorporate in, especially in my podcast, but a lot too in some of the short form videos that I create.
And are you doing that in your professional editing software, the B-roll and the sound?
So the sound and some of the B-roll can actually be done in CapCut. I have them, like, my process is I use Motion Array for some of the B-roll right? And YouTube, actually. I'll use some clips from YouTube, and I'll have it on my phone already, and I'll just add it to my video editing app. But now, of course, everything is so much simpler on a computer when it comes to extensive editing. But for the most part, if I'm doing like a 30-second video, I'm doing it on CapCut.
Yeah. Well, I hope a lot of people are just taking notes and getting the hacks that I am taking, because doing the research to figure out all these tools is just bananas. Thanks for spending all this time with us today. This was
Of course.
amazing.
No,
Amazing
thank
for
you
me
for the
personally.
invite.